Hi guys, this is Jackie Hidalgo and I'm talking arts and crafts with Bo. My craft is, is graphic design, and I also do video editing, and that's more so my craft as in making money. My other personal craft is music and singing, and so for the first one I landed upon graphic design because at 13 years old my cousin got me a CD for Adobe Photoshop 7, and I spent a whole summer on LiveJournal doing tutorials and making icons and banners for like animes, and because all of them were usually used for like Korean or Japanese shows or animes and stuff, and I just wanted to learn how to use the program, so I did that then and fell in love with it, and so I ended up going to school for it, kind of doing a little bit of a runaround in getting the degree. I started off as an art major, then double major in Japanese, and then I ended up finally getting a Bachelor of Fine Arts in digital art. And so as for music and singing, that has kind of just been my whole life. My father's a musician, and I've been singing with him like at church since I was 13, and then later on when I was 18 or so, taught myself how to play the guitar, and then later taught myself how to play the piano. And so they're not as big of a thing in my life, but I still do sing, and I have a piano and a guitar too, so I still have that around. My dad taught me like listening for the bass in songs first helps you figure out everything else, and that literally was like a lifesaver for me. I wish I played piano more because it's just a huge like release for me that's very different from graphic design and like art. I would say art and like both digital and like even just painting, like it's very different for me what that releases versus music. So I feel like music is way more personal, where I feel like graphic design and like art and maybe science painting is more like mental, physical. And it's hard too because like for Rafa, he can just like, you know, it's funny because I can listen to hear stuff and I'm like, it's this note, and then he can find on the guitar because he did that theory in like jazz camp and stuff. So also part of me is like, well, he's really good, so I don't really want, I know he was a nerd. But I tease him up all the time.
The idea, I mean, any sort of camp was kind of like a daydream growing up. Where like I would have band camp or jazz camp. I'm like, whoa,
I know.
It's like a different realm.
Yeah. And he went, I can't remember who he said, it was like a famous musician or jazz musician, went to one of them that he did. And so, but yeah, he knows theory and all that stuff with it, and so I'll tell him like, it's this note, and he'll find it. It was funny because we're both just so headstrong that we'll argue about some things, but I'm like, no, it's this note. He's like, you're right. It's like, fine. And so I just let him have the skills and I just do the sounds.
Can you talk a little bit more about your graphic design video editing as it relates to your YouTube channel?
Yeah, so I started mostly in graphic design, and it's funny because at the University of Oregon, at least when I was taking the major, I did art with a digital art focus as my first Bachelor of Arts. And in that one, if you were going to do a digital arts focus, you had to take 3 core classes, and it was coding, kind of more like Illustrator, graphic design, and then it was video work. And the video work, when I just took it, I was like, I had to take it, so I'll take it. But I realized, like, while taking that class, that I enjoyed it a lot. And so fast forward to now, where I still stayed with my graphic design focus, it just helps me a lot because I'm able to design things like my banners and all of the different like paraphernalia things digitally that I do for my channel. And even like in future case if things become print, I can do that myself because that stuff is expensive, and rightfully so. For video work and recording, right now, I try to set myself a schedule, like record on these days, edit, and then upload. And I try to separate it enough to where I don't feel overwhelmed, but also where I don't forget like what I'm doing. I think it's hard to pre-record things far in advance and then be like, oh, what headspace was I in? What was I trying to convey and say? Because there's stuff sometimes that I record that I can't get all in that video that I have to say. But I try to definitely record and then edit and then upload. And
can I interrupt you real Like what programs do you use?
Yeah, I use Adobe Premiere to edit my videos. Sometimes I use After Effects just to add little bits and pieces, but that's I maybe used it 2-3 times. Otherwise I stay away from it because it's extra and I don't need it. And then I use Illustrator for almost all of my templates and everything. And even like all my thumbnails, all that stuff. And so yeah, using Creative Cloud. It's a lot. Like it's really, Premiere especially is like a hefty program. It can really be hard on your computer. So I try to keep things saved externally to not like put too much of a burden on it. But I really like it. The update though that it did recently, I think the update that it did for this year was, yeah, it forced me to make my own templates, which is a good thing at the end of the day, but it was annoying.
I don't know if you're about to jump into it, but like the content of your videos.
Yeah, so the content of it is natural hair right now, and it's more so moving into more lifestyle because now I'm introducing more like things that I do to keep organized. So bullet journaling. It's something I do to try to keep my life organized because I just don't like keeping everything digital on my phone. I don't know, we're the last generation that had that, you know, integration into digital. We had the opportunity to have things, you know, our journals and our planners and writing down things. And so I enjoy writing things down, and it also gives me an outlet to just draw and stuff. I think it's important for graphic designers to draw. So I do that, and so that's lifestyle, and then talking more about just other things. Like I'll talk about fashion every once in a while, and I'm not a makeup person per se. Like I enjoy makeup, but I'm not like trying to do, you know, the cut creases or the halo, like all the different kind of styles for like eyeshadows and stuff. I'm just here just trying to look presentable every day. And so I'll do, you know, a video here and there. People ask about it. And then also just share products that I like. I think overall in general for me, especially with hair, I just want to share what products work for me, what I like, because I think there's just such a variety of needs that I feel like the wider amount of people we have talking about what they like, it makes it easier for the next person to find it. And so, and I knew how hard it was for me in the beginning, even like transitioning from relaxed to natural hair, how hard it was for me to figure out like, okay, what works? How do I not look crazy when I go to work and not get questions? But how do I also like have fun and enjoy this? And so, yeah, the first year being natural was rough. I'm actually surprised at work how much grace they had for me my first time at work, because there's some hot mess days, but I feel like everyone, you have to go through it and figure it out. So yeah, it's really gonna end up, I think, being just my journey for the first. I didn't start when I first went natural, so maybe my first, like after my first year, maybe like 4 years total, like up to 5 years. I don't know how long I'll do YouTube for, but I know at least that's what I can foresee now. Some of it's like I can't control, but the part that I can't control, I do my best to take care of it. And I think that's hard because it's like I'm learning now more and more, particularly kind of like, it's hard because particularly in the natural hair community, I think a lot of people are very sometimes reluctant to pay extra sometimes for hair products, and it's also too like it has a lot to do with socioeconomic things for people of color, and it's something that I completely understand because it's hard because they make things kind of like so unattainable for us, but yet I just want to be like, but you can do it. And so I kind of am learning that like, yeah, some of these products and things I can use and I can obtain, how do I make it more accessible to people who can't really get what I get but get the same results? And so I'm moving more in that direction now, but in the beginning it was more so establishing like, this is what my hair needs, this is how it needs it, when it needs it, and now it's like, okay, how do we adjust that to where like, if someone, exactly, if someone had only $30 a month to spend on hair products, could they buy everything they needed to wash and style their hair and have it turn out, you know, just as good? Yeah. And so, yeah.
So what shifted you to like go back to natural?
Definitely two people I love and I want to credit, and they might get embarrassed for me saying that. It's my friend Rin and Ariana. I think I knew Ariana for a little bit longer, and she, I think, when we first met, I don't want to... Her hair was either short or partially or relaxed. I don't remember. But she would go... She's kind of like one of those fashion or hair chameleons where she can do anything and it looks great. And so she would always experiment. And so I don't know if she's had an undercut before, but she's definitely had her hair really short, had it relaxed, and she's had, you know, all different kinds of styles. But just seeing her hair flourish and seeing like how she was taking care of her hair was inspiration for me. And then my friend Rin was the same way, where she, you know, sometimes would come in with like different wigs and weaves, and sometimes her hair would be braided up and twisted up, but in different styles I never really had seen, even though growing up in Baltimore I've seen a lot and even been exposed to a lot, like doing hairstyles on myself when I was younger. She still just was like, show me more the different ways to style your hair. And so just seeing them and the versatility that they had with their hair. And also for me, I think around the time, I want to say I got my hair, or no, I started doing my own hair when I was 13. My mom had been doing my hair my whole life. I've been relaxed since I was 3, but she just kept it very healthy. So when I started doing my hair, I started having issues, and also just with us moving, different hairstylists just would not like do it right. They would just be, the relaxer would be botched or something like that. And so went to a lady, when we moved to Canby, went to a lady in Portland, she botched my relaxer. Went to another lady in Lake Oswego of all places, but she was a godsend, like amazing black lady, yeah. And like this random fancy, like super bougie, fancy hair salon in Lake Oswego, and if you're from this area, you know, she just really hooked me up. And she told me that the lady had butchered my last relaxer. She cut it, and that's when I had that really short haircut. She cut it to where it was like that Victoria Beckham bob that was really popular, where it's long in the front, short in the back. And I remember it being like, I can feel like that was the first time in my life I've ever had short hair. When I was younger, my hair was always long down my back, or definitely between my shoulder blades around there. And so from that point though, I was still struggling to grow it out and everything. But then from that point on, I just kind of went through a journey of like, okay, I'm gonna have long relaxed hair, because that was actually a big thing on YouTube and different black hair care forums, was like how to have long, healthy, relaxed hair. Because first of all, people were saying like, your hair can't be healthy when it's relaxed, it can't be that. And while I understand part of it, because yes, you're chemically processing your hair and altering its makeup to make it be something it's not. And at the same time, you know, we do all other chemical processes to our hair, and yet finesse to make it work. You know, like coloring and bleaching is not good for your hair, but yeah, people make it work. And so I was just learning in the process of like, oh, relaxed hair, you need protein. I was like, what's protein? And then we're going through the whole thing of using too much protein and being like, oh, it breaks off your hair if you use too much. And then like all kinds of stuff, and learning like, oh, I need to wrap my hair every night. Oh, I need to do a pre-poo, which is like using a treatment or something in your hair before you shampoo it. And so it has nothing to do with using the bathroom. People are always like, what?
What'd you call it?
Pre-poo.
Oh,
is what people call
definitely
it.
Didn't hear that.
Yeah, yeah, pre-poo treatment. So I would before I would shampoo it, I would use coconut oil, put it on my hair, and leave it in for an hour, and then wash it all out, do that whole thing. And I got my hair to be pretty long, but I would always have these random setbacks where it would be like a little section in like the middle back of my hair under the crown where it was just for some reason just be short or break off, and it would be like 2 inches or so difference, like a good amount of difference between it, and I'd have to like hide it or figure out like what to do with it. And I wasn't at that point too. I stopped going to hairstylists because the lady in Lake Oswego, after like she cut my hair, I gone back to her once, and then she got in a car accident, and then I tried to go to one of her friends with a stylist, and she literally this is the worst relaxer I've ever had in my life. And so I never went back, and because she just didn't know. Like for me, it was like the fact that I can do a better job with my hair than she can, and we're paying you $200-something for this, like no. So we stopped going to, and just the box relaxers, and my hair flourished with that. But at the same time, my hair was just frustrating me, even though I knew I could get it to a certain length, and it was getting pretty long. I was just like, I just don't know. I feel like I can do more. And so it wasn't until I think going to U of O, it was maybe like the last year or two going to UofO that I was contemplating, thinking about it, and looking and seeing pictures. Because by that time now, the national movement was really underway, and people were like posting pictures and talking about, we're doing the lock method, and that's basically a method to keep your hair moisturized. And so the lock is leave-in oil conditioner, or leave-in oil cream, not conditioner, yeah, leave-in oil cream for like styling and keeping it moisturized and all this stuff. And I'm just like very interested, but I'm just like, that's not, like, I can't do that with my hair relaxed. And so
seeing a growing conversation around it, and pictures, like that was...
Yeah, seeing the conversation. By the time, because by that time too, we had been in Eugene for probably 3 or so years. So then that was, you know, me being around my friends Ariana and Ren and seeing stuff online, and then seeing, you know, other people. I think some of the girls who were relaxed that I followed started going natural too. Just being like, you know what I did? Like, I reached my goals when I was relaxed. I got my hair to this length. Now I want to see if I can do this natural and see if I can get the same kind of results. And so, yeah, I was watching that, and then I would just ask my parents, because I think definitely just for me, as much as I am independent from them, I'm also like, their opinions matter to me. And also too, they grew up in the era of natural hair, and they had froze for their proms and like, all that stuff. And so I asked them, you know, and I was like, okay, should I do this? And knowing, you know, all I knew from my mom at that point was that I just had a lot of hair, and it was very textured. And so she was like, I don't know about that. But at the same time too, they didn't really make products that catered to that when I was younger. So she was like, if they're not going to cater to you, then it might be harder than you expect. And so, and also too was fear of my hair texture, because I just had no idea what it was going to look like. And so knowing that there was different types, I was like, oh, am I going to be able to manage it? Am I going to like it even? Even now I'm learning that a lot of that is just, you know, getting rid of a lot of the European standards of beauty and what nice hair texture is supposed to look like. And so once I kind of got past all those fears of like having, you know, 4C hair or type 4 hair, and having, you know, hair that's just not going to be manageable or able to take care of, I got past that and I transitioned, and it really was like, it was just very, very freeing. Very, 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 very freeing. And so I was really happy. I think I started transitioning from relaxed to natural. I think my last relaxer was my brother's wedding, actually. So I got a relaxer the week before that. And then I cut my hair the day after I got married, which was the following September. And so the day after.
I remember you at your wedding. And
yeah.
then you remember seeing the picture and be like, she died.
Yep. Completely cut it off. And so, yeah, 9 months of growth. But it was still pretty short. And it's funny because my husband helped me out too with it afterwards. Or helped me out with the places I couldn't reach. There was the parts in the back I couldn't reach. And so he helped me with that. But I was like, that's it? I was like, cut it where you see the curly going to straight. And it's funny because he was like, he's like, wow, it's really, you can really tell the difference. And I was like, yeah, it looks like it was kind of like dead limp hair compared to like how my natural hair was just big and curly and less lively. And then my mom, I think we came back, we went on our honeymoon for a week, came back, and my mom helped shape it up. But I also think she just, you know, was getting flashbacks of how she would use to do her hair, so she'd pick it and cut it. And so I think, I mean, it was probably good because it cut off a lot of probably like dead ends or probably split ends from the relaxed hair. And at the same time, I was like, you're cutting it really short. So, but it was, yeah, it was really short. But from there, it's just trying thing after thing after thing, going to the store, learning return policies of different stores, so that like if something didn't work, I could be like, can I return this?
I didn't even know that was, I mean, I'm the last person someone should ask about like makeup or hair stuff. And not because I hate it, but because I just don't have the breadth of knowledge. But I didn't even know that was like something you could do. Like to buy something and go, well, that didn't work out. I never knew I could at least inquire about taking it back. So I have a lot of weird jars of stuff.
Yeah, just like, oh, this is
that didn't work, or but I guess you would have to, because if you're trying to figure out if the products are there.
And some things are expensive. Like I remember when I first bought Whispering and Kiki curling custard, and I think like an 8-ounce jar is like $18. And I was just like, all right, well, this is better work for me, and it did, thankfully. But then I tried this other brand. They had a leave-in conditioner. I think it was Mixed Chicks. They had their stuff, and
did that work?
it worked for like a little bit. That's the thing. Some things will work for a little bit, and then at the second bottle, it didn't work. So, but at that point, I was like, you know what, I'll just donate it. Like, I'll give it to someone that I know likes it. And so I gave it to a friend whose daughter, I think they use it for their daughter. But it's stuff like that where it's like, do I return it? Do I just give it away? And sometimes if I know it's a good product, it just doesn't work for me, I usually will give it away. But otherwise, if I'm like, oh, this is trash, then I'll return it and be like, nobody needs to use this ever.
So how long since today have you been with your natural hair?
It's 2.5 years. A little bit more than 2.5 years, yeah. Because, yeah, after my anniversary, it'll be 3 years. Yeah. It's crazy because it feels like it's been longer. And at the same time, it just feels like whoa, that's a really short time to like have gone through so many things and figured so many things out. Yeah, it's kind of weird.
To your subscribers, what do you hope they will take away from your channel on YouTube? And to those who just stumble upon it, what do you hope their takeaway is?
So for people who are subscribed, I think just probably for everyone, I hope that there's an overall education, because I think there's a lot of misinformation on this, and at the same time I think they're just resources are now starting to get more and more published and put out there, but I want to be another person that pushes it further, because I think everyone has a different audience that watches their stuff, and so that's probably more so like for the people that just come by and see it. I want them to be educated and curious, and have probably a safe place to like ask those questions, because not everyone is a safe place, not everyone needs to be, and so it's kind of easier when someone's offering information to ask some questions rather than like bug people that you just randomly just meet on the street. And so I'm willfully letting myself be the person that you can bug and ask questions rather than you know, trying to make everyone do the work for you and not do your own research. And so for people who are subscribed, I just hope, yeah, that they get that there's some form of education, but also a deep appreciation and a love for what they have in their hair. And for me, I'm not saying you have to be natural to follow my channel. That's actually not a goal of mine. Just appreciation for self.
What are you most proud of?
Oh, God. I am most proud of just starting and not giving up.
What do you absolutely love about yourself?
I'm honest, I'm blunt, and I like that because not everyone can handle it, and I like that because that kind of narrows. I'm also an introvert, so that kind of narrows my
social group.
Yeah, but in a good way.
Yes. It specializes it.
Exactly.
Tyson would high five you right now.
Yes.
High five you for Tyson.
High five. Yes.
It's like now I know exactly who my people are.
Yeah.
You can't live without. Maybe a personal one and then one as it relates to your craft.
Yeah, I can't live without jeans. I love jeans. My craft, good music. I listen to other YouTube videos that don't have music in it, and for me, I'm like, it's missing something. Like, I understand that they don't want it, and it's just like, this je ne sais quoi, it just needs something, and so yeah, I need
this will be your background.
I know, could you imagine?
Welcome to your
I know, man, this is just how we're gonna go.
What could you live without, both personally and as it relates to your craft?
Personally, I could live without Nutella. Surprisingly, I can, and I do live without it because I don't want to be addicted. I can live without the highest tech for my work. For
the what?
The highest tech.
Oh, okay.
Like, you know, the newest lens, the newest camera, the newest, you know, program.
You can problem solve with what you have.
Yeah, exactly.
That's beautiful creativity.
Yeah.
At first, I thought you were going the route of like trolls, YouTube trolls. That's always something. I can live without the weird comments.
I mean, I got one.
Or
before.
The copy and paste of like. like your song, check out my channel.
Oh, those are so irritating. I just delete them though. I delete, or even like on Instagram now I'm getting that, I can promote your channel, DM me. And I'm like, time out, you want to promote me, so you need to be in my DMs and fix that. And my voice cracked verbally.
Well, what legacy do you hope to leave?
I want to leave a legacy of discernment and grace. That's, and discernment as in, so like to define it, for me would be the ability to be able to be in a situation and understand the pluses and minuses of it, and then decide from that point if it's something you want or something you don't want, and then to be willing to kind of like grow and learn from that. So, and there's another one actually, discernment. I guess it might fall into grace. Grace as in, I think a lot of people think grace to be this willy-nilly kind of like, oh, it's okay, you can do that, whatever. And when it's like, no, grace has a high standard, and also grace is so pervasive. Grace is extremely, it goes over the mountains and under the deepest seas. It's so vast and expansive in what it is, and it catapults you up back to, you know, the standard that you've fallen from, or you think that you can't make it to. And so I definitely want that with want to have a legacy of grace, and a legacy of humility, but humility in the way of I can make mistakes, and I want to own up to my mistakes, and I want to never see myself more than what I am, and more than, I just don't want to make myself self-important. I don't want to be the person who's like, I want a statue, I want my name on buildings, because apparently that's really bad for you when you end up getting, you know, investigated because of your collusion and stuff with Russia. But I just don't feel the need to. You don't want your bust? Yeah, just on, like, right here. Every street corner. Here you go. No, I'm more concerned with people, and, you know, and my children and my family and all that stuff. I'm more concerned about that and what the future holds for all of that, to not really be concerned with things. I like things, like I like nice things, and I have nice things. I have enough. I don't need, like, I'm not out here saying like, sponsor me or give me this thing or this, that thing. Like, no, things are very, very sufficient, and I'm not trying to say that, and at the same time it's like, and that's not the end all be all for me. Yeah. So yeah, I guess, yeah, grace, humility, and discernment.